Alright, so welcome to today's video. We have 3 different lights to test. As you're starting out to build your very own first light kit, what do I recommend as a professional videographer or a content creator, or you're just starting out as a podcast people? What do you start out with the first light that you should buy? So, if you are shooting just yourself in a room, in your house, in your apartment, you don't want to shoot outside windows, you can opt for this Godox SL60W. Perhaps one of the cheaper options that you can opt for, coming in at only $369. It gets the job done. I've been using it for almost 3 years now, and you can see there's a dent. So that's the amount of times I've used it and dropped it, and it still works. But if you want to improve your services, if you want to get a more professional lighting, then you can opt for the NANLITE FS150. This one is to light up multiple people on set, especially when you're trying to light up a bigger scene that involves many different people and you have a bigger set. Say if you have the money, this coming at $799. If you want to top up a little bit more for 1,000 ringgit range, you can opt for the APUTURE Amaranth 200D, the smallest profile among all these 3 and the brightest profile among all of these 3. It's pretty much one of my go-to light right now. The only disadvantage is made of plastic, so it's not as much durable as compared to these 2. But for all this time, I've been very cautious in handling my lights. You know, I don't throw it around or don't fumble it around, and it works. So, in terms of CRI, what is CRI? So every single light here is all daylight, which means theoretically they're shooting at 5,600 kelvins. In normal language, it means pure white, like sunlight, pure white. So a lot of these manufacturers actually have a certain degree of deviations from that 5,600 kelvins, and we know that to be in the form of a color cast which they come out. So what is a color cast? Say if you're looking at a very cheap LED light, you probably notice that the light isn't exactly white. It is somewhat magenta or greenish, and this is the same applies to the world of video making. So when it comes to the degree of whiteness, what do you get, right? So let's look at the APUTURE Amaranth 200D. This is actually one of the best light that I've dealt with. For the sole reason is pure white. Like, there's nothing wrong with this. Now, when you look into the NANLITE series, my biggest complaint about this is that it is advertised to be white, but every time when I shoot this video with this product, I have this greenish tint in my overall image, which I then have to color correct in post. So now coming from the SL60 Godox, this one has a magenta color cast into the light. So what does magenta mean is when you're shooting, let's say, my skin tones, it's sort of purplish. So what you gotta do in post is you're gonna have to add more green in to balance with the magenta. So to wrap up this comprehensive review on all these 3 lights, you have to be mindful when you're purchasing 3 different brands and you're lighting every single one from different angles. You're going to get a huge problem color grading because you're getting magenta here, you're getting green here, you're getting white here. You can't balance this scene out. So if you're starting out as a content creator and you just don't mind about this green, orange or magenta, you can go for different brands. But if you're a filmmaker like me, then you might want to think twice on using 3 different brands on a single scene. You might want to stick with just one brand. Should it be white, it's all white. Should it be magenta, it's all magenta. And should it be greenish, then it's all greenish. So NANLITE for green, Godox for magenta, and APUTURE for pure white. Okay, moving on to the second thing that we want to nitpick on is into the fan noise amongst all these 3 brands. So have you ever encountered fan noise coming into your scene as you're videotaping somebody? Chances are yes, and you have to switch off either the aircon or the fan. Now, similar to all these 3 lights, they actually have an inbuilt fan in all of these 3 lights. And which fan among all these 3 lights actually produces the highest amount of noise affecting your scene? Safe to say, neither. None of all these 3 lights have produced fan noise up above the level which I get so pissed off that I just want to throw this light out of the window or down 17 floors. So far, I'm getting a lot of reviews online saying the Godox does fan noise pretty well. The FS150, it's a great job. Now down to this one here, this small little thing. If you were to buy in 2023 on the APUTURE Amaranth 200D, you won't be encountering any fan noise, as I would have never had issues with the fan noise. However, if you were to buy this light, say in 2019 when it first came out, then you might encounter a fan noise issue. So, coming from the fact that you have now the option to buy first hand or second hand, I highly recommend you purchasing the Emerald 200D first hand, that means brand new, for two reasons. One is because of the fixed fan noise in later updates, and two, into the fact that the build quality in the Aputure 200D, it's plastic. You don't get durability as the Godox. I've dropped this 3 times, I've dropped this once, and I've never dropped this, and I hope I don't, because this thing, it's light. It's made of plastic, but it's also not so durable. So, if you're going around shooting different scenes outside, I don't recommend you treating this like a 1DX Mark II, throwing it around. You have to be very cautious with this. Treat it like an angel and treat it with love, care, tender loving care. Alright, so this pretty much ends up the video. I hope you understand that there are different brands creating different kind of CRI ratings and different kind of color casts into your scene. So try your best to avoid purchasing 3 different brands. Now, coming from what you should buy as starting out as 2022, if you have the budget, go for the Aputure 200D. You won't regret it because it's the closest amount that you can get to defeating the sun. Plus, it's simple setup, so small, so minute, so cheap, and it's pretty much easy for you to lob around. You know, you don't have to actually carry a very big carrying case for it. That's 2, mobility-wise, you get a big bumps up. And 3, you get incredible value for the amount of light you get at 1,000 ringgit for 200 watts of power. It's insane. The next video, I'm going to be showing you how you're going to modify this light to basically light up a whole scene or set. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you want to support this channel, there is a Pond5 link down below. So Pond5 is basically a stock footage site that you can purchase of stock royalty footage that I've shot for my previous client and use it on your own personal or commercial projects. Now, if you purchase these footages, I get a huge percentage cut from selling this footage. Hence, I can use this funding to purchase more lights or purchase more products to review in the next YouTube video. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rodric. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next episode where I'm going to be teaching you how do you modify all these 3 lights.